We thought coming off that historic draft, these rookies have put on quite a season, and it's not just Caitlin and Angel, Rickea Jackson and other rookies are at the league right now. We do sit at this intersection of culture and sport and fashion and music. Like the WNBA players are really looked at now as kind of cultural icons. Games of consequence between rivals. They don't want everybody being nice to one another. So the social media is different today than it was in 1979 when it didn't exist.
You know that feeling when you're crushing it at work, but your boss doesn't seem to notice? That's Caitlin Clark right now in the WNBA. She's balling out, but the MVP list is giving her the cold shoulder, and now the commissioner's words are adding fuel to the fire. Let's talk about why this matters to all of us who've ever felt overlooked. Before we move on, I'd like to ask you a small favor. If you appreciate this content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of you watch the videos without subscribing. It costs you nothing, but it makes a huge difference to us. So, did you click the subscribe button? Great. Thank you so much. Now, back to the video. The commissioner then unveils this shocking revelation, correct? And here's the worst part. Clark isn't the only one involved. Every rookie-veteran matchup this season might have been heatedly heated after hearing Engelbert's comments.
Caitlin Clark can take the WNBA to the next level. It's not all on her. We sat down with the league's commissioner, who's been planning for this moment for years.
So this generational talent, they have big followings on social media, increased media attention with ESPN and ABC. And
how much do you think is Caitlin going to mean going from 10,000 attendance at a typical game on a Tuesday or a Sunday to 15 or 20,000?
Just how? Here we will dissect it. Everyone is talking about the statements made by WNBA Commissioner Cathy Engelbert recently. You'd think the league's main priority would be to promote Caitlin Clark, their new sensation, wouldn't you? Very quickly, I'm afraid. To begin, when Engelbert made a statement on the current MVP rankings, she arched an eyebrow. I can't believe it. Caitlin Clark, who has been absolutely destroying the competition, isn't even in the top 5. Both supporters and experts are perplexed, trying to figure out how that's conceivable. However, that is merely the most outrageous aspect. After that, the commissioner revealed something shocking regarding the league's rivals. She admitted without equivocation that a downward spiral has occurred. We're having deep conversations about sexuality and ethnicity, which is complicating the dynamics among the players. One would expect Engelbert to attempt to mend fences, wouldn't they? Not at all. Her main point was that it's okay for everybody not to like each other. Do you have a moment? Does this mean that veterans can now approach youngsters like Clark with impunity? Now it's about more than just rankings. The stage is being set by Engelbert's comments for what could prove to be Clark's greatest obstacle thus far in her rookie season. If the commissioner were to remark, "Welcome to the big leagues, kid," it would be the same. I hope you're prepared to wrestle. Put it in your mind, when Clark is on the court, even the most seasoned pros appear to be moving at a snail's pace. It seems like she's put a target on Clark's back with Engelbert's remarks. Oh, you think you're hot stuff? The vets may be thinking, how do you react when faced with actual stress? Clark isn't the only one taking a beating. For every rookie in the league, Engelbert's comments are increasing the strain. The way she says it makes it sound like she's giving the veterans carte blanche to teach the newbies the ropes of WNBA basketball. The intriguing part, though, begins at this point. When Engelbert talks about basketball, he's not limiting himself to that. Even off the court, she's dropping hints about the drama. Underneath the surface, there are racial conflicts and sexuality debates. Hey, this is part of the game too, she seems to be saying now. Put it behind you. So, how does this impact Clark and the rest of the rookies? Tough defenses and complicated plays aren't the only challenges they face. A labyrinth of personal animosities, contentious arguments, and possible confrontations extending far beyond basketball awaits them. Engelbert, is he attempting to instill a sense of toughness in the younger generation? Is she really denying the existence of professional sports though? Whatever the case may be, her remarks are adding fuel to the fire.
So much of this seems to be about momentum.
Yeah, the momentum around followership, around these generational players coming into our league. So it is taking that momentum, capitalizing on marketing around it. I know one thing coming out of business, Becky, you need 3 things in sports: household names, rivalries, and games of consequence, and March Madness had all of that. Caitlin, Diana Taurasi in Phoenix, there's a little edge there. Obviously you have Cardoso, and Angel Reese going to play in Chicago. So I think parity in the game is really important.
Despite all that's been going on, Clark has been subtly moving forward. She's making seasoned players perspire, but the MVP polls don't even mention her. Does this narrative have further layers, or is Clark being unjustly ignored? We should discuss Clark's game. This inexperienced player is utterly destroying the competition. We're talking about averaging 25 points a game, dishing out assists at will, and giving defenses the creeps. Everyone else seems to be playing checkers, but she's playing chess. Incredibly though, Clark's name does not appear anywhere on the MVP ladder. Even if these statistics are absolutely mind-boggling, no one would have expected her to be on par with Sabrina Ionescu, Asia Wilson, and Brianna Stewart. But no, not even close to being in the top 5. Why is this happening?
Certainly Caitlin Clark has left an indelible imprint on the business of women's basketball. You had a big night, draft night, on Monday. The ratings were big.
I appreciate the conversation around it, but as I joined the league when we weren't even in our 25th season, and the men's leagues are in their 75th and 105th and 110th. Caitlin brings with her a huge fan base. So does Angel, Cameron Brink from Stanford, Rickea Jackson from Tennessee. So just all these, Camila Cardoso, who was the most outstanding player yesterday in the finals.
Well, she's just a rookie. You might be thinking at this point, she needs time. The point is, though, Clark isn't acting like a beginner. She looks like she's been a pro for a long time. We should all be applauding her, so why isn't anyone? Some are speculating that her relative inexperience in the league is to blame. Some believe it has to do with dues. Whatever the case may be, Clark is obviously up against a steep hill. Her ability to handle the complexities of the professional sports world is just as important as her play on the court. Put it in your mind, tough opponents and complicated plays aren't the only challenges Clark faces. There are heated rivalries, veterans aren't necessarily welcoming to newcomers, and the off-court drama may rival the on-court drama in this league that she's entering. What Kendrick Perkins said regarding Clark should also be remembered. He stressed that her leadership qualities are more important than her statistics. She's starting to lead in great fashion. According to him, and she's just not a vocal leader. She's a leader that's leading by example.
The ratings for the college championship game outdid any basketball game, male or female, in recent years.
We have this enormous opportunity at a time when, as you know, Andrew, the media landscape is changing so much. So yes, we have Prime Video, but again, we have ESPN, we have CBS.
The fact that it came from an NBA champion is very impressive. The intriguing part, though, begins at this point. What did the commissioner have to say regarding the league's rivalries and tensions? Words alone won't cut it. They may be preparing Clark for his greatest test to date. Everyone is watching to see whether Clark will crumble or emerge stronger when she steps into a pressure cooker. How is Clark coping with everything that's happening? All that stress, that scrutiny, all those expectations. This is enough to confuse the dickens out of anybody. Clark, though, isn't merely surviving. She's thriving, according to our observations on the court. She insists on making her presence known at every game. It's not enough for her to simply keep up with the veterans. She's really leading the pack. She's making a statement with each spectacular performance, as if she had something to prove. Truthfully though, things aren't always rosy. Problems for Clark extend beyond the courtroom. The commissioner mentioned conversations around sexuality and race. Clark now includes them in his universe as well. She's not merely a basketball player, she's also a political and social maven. Still, Clark's performance speaks volumes, even in the face of these obstacles. She's more than just a teenage sensation. With each step she takes to the court, she transforms the game. She seems to have channeled all the anticipation and stress into something positive. Clark may be a tyrant on the court, but the internet is where all the action is. There has been a social media frenzy about her. Not only are fans expressing their opinions, but we are also seeing comments from players, coaches, and even famous people. The important question though is whether or if all this internet chit-chat is improving Clark's game. The social media craze is something we should discuss. It feels like a completely other game, and Clark is smack dab in the thick of it. Some people are attempting to put her down, while others are going crazy over her highlight reels. Everything is occurring at once, and it's a wild journey. To paraphrase Commissioner Engelbert, one thing that's great about the league right now, we do sit at this intersection of culture and sport and fashion and music. She is being serious. The Women's National Basketball Association, WNBA, has evolved into a cultural phenomenon propelled by the power of social media. However, the tough part starts here. The focus has both positive and negative consequences. The league benefits greatly. On the one hand, more viewers equals more supporters, more advertising, more of everything. However, in contrast, players like Clark are being scrutinized more closely as a result. Picture this. That's Caitlin Clark. You just had a phenomenal game. You're absolutely thrilled. Then, all of a sudden, you receive a deluge of remarks the moment you pull out your phone. There are those who are singing your praises and many who are bringing you low. Tell me how you deal with that. And these days, it's about more than just hoops. Race, gender, and everything in between are all up for discussion. Clark entered a pressure cooker, and the heat was pushed up to maximum on social media. Put it in your mind, everyone watches Clark's every move, whether it's on or off the court, and some even find fault with him. One poor game, a social media explosion occurs. Something divisive said, it becomes popular within minutes. This is enough to confuse the dickens out of anybody's. The strangest part, though, is that Clark appears to be doing it with ease. The noise isn't bothering her. She's allowing her game to speak for itself as she remains focused and puts up tremendous numbers. Did you hear of something very crazy? Clark has been receiving a lot of attention, which has some of the league's veterans unhappy. Hey, I've been here for years, where's my spotlight? They say to themselves. As a result, the league is experiencing some strange friction. The battleground is social media, and there are old guards and young blood. And Clark isn't the only one involved. The entire WNBA scene is being transformed by this social media tempest. With the help of the internet, athletes are establishing their names in the eyes of spectators in ways that were before impossible. Even if it's exposing them to more scrutiny, it's also opening up new chances. Keep in mind that Engelbert mentioned the league as a place where culture and sport meet. That's happening right now on social media. There are personal stories, fashion pieces, social justice messages, and basketball highlights all mixed together. Everything is different now. Is the WNBA benefiting from all of this? That is the million-dollar question. A positive aspect is that it provides players with a platform, attracts new followers, and generates excitement. Conversely, it's diverting attention away from the game itself, which in turn creates pressure. You can count on the social media frenzy surrounding Clark and the WNBA to continue for the foreseeable future. Off the court as much as on it, it's altering the dynamics. Players nowadays are more than simply athletes. They are also role models, influencers, and at times, scandal magnets.